Is Bitcoin God's money? Durability, portability, recognizability, divisibility, and scarcity. Learn to do good, seek justice, correct oppression. Welcome to Biblical Bitcoin. I'm Anthony Angelo, your host, and today we're going to dive into a profound question. Is Bitcoin God's money? This isn't just a catchy title. It's a serious inquiry into whether Bitcoin, as a decentralized digital currency, aligns with the characteristics of a theoretically perfect, divinely inspired monetary system. We'll explore this question through a technical lens, grounding our analysis in both economic principles and biblical wisdom. By the end, you'll have a clearer perspective on whether Bitcoin is the closest thing we've come to as a divine monetary system. Let's begin. To answer whether Bitcoin could be considered God's money, we first need to define what a perfect or divine monetary system would entail. Economists and monetary theorists have long agreed that an ideal form of money must possess all 5 of these key attributes: durability, portability, recognizability, divisibility, and scarcity. Let's break these down technically and consider what a divinely inspired money might look like. Durability. A perfect money must withstand the test of time, resisting physical and functional degradation. A divine money would be imperishable, maintaining its integrity across generations. Portability. Money must be easy to transport, enabling seamless trade across distances. Heavy commodities like cattle, grain, or gold fail here, while digital assets excel. Number 3, recognizability. Money should be easily identifiable as authentic, reducing fraud and ensuring trust. In a divine system, this would mean universal acceptance without reliance on centralized authorities, with a very little cost to verify. Number 4, divisibility. Ideal money can be divided into smaller units without losing value, facilitating transactions of any size. A divine money would enable precise, equitable exchanges. And lastly, but probably most importantly, scarcity. For money to hold value, it must be limited in supply. Uncontrolled issuance leads to inflation, devaluing wealth and undermining overall fairness, a principle a divine system would avoid. These characteristics align with a system that reflects God's order, stable, trustworthy, and just. As Proverbs 16:11 states, "A just balance and scales are the Lord's. All the weights in the bag are his work." God's design for value exchange would prioritize integrity and fairness. Honest balances, scales, and weights were integral for trading in biblical times. Dishonest tools of this kind would enable merchants to trick their customers into paying more for less. They would diminish their purchasing power, similar to how your purchasing power has been sneakily diminished through inflation. Quick side note, thou shalt not steal. Stealing can occur through one of 2 ways. Number 1, a threat of force. Number 2, a sneaky or tricky endeavor. Taxation is stealing through a threat of force. It is not voluntary. Inflation is stealing through a sneaky or tricky endeavor. Let's evaluate Bitcoin against these ideal attributes. For durability, Bitcoin exists as digital data on a decentralized blockchain, a ledger replicated across thousands of computers worldwide. Unlike physical currency, it cannot rot or be destroyed by natural decay. As long as the internet exists, Bitcoin persists. This echoes Matthew 6:19-20, where Jesus says, "Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven." Bitcoin's digital nature makes it immune to physical degradation, aligning with the imperishable quality of divine treasure. Portability. Bitcoin is borderless and weightless. You can send $1 million of Bitcoin to another country with a smartphone in a matter of minutes. No need for physical transport. Compare this to gold, which is cumbersome, or cash, which is risky to carry. Imagine you're trying to ship your gold from one country to another, and the boat where it resides ends up at the bottom of the ocean. The risk can be incredibly high to transport materials, physical materials that store your wealth. Not to mention you'll pay thousands of dollars in transport fees, even if it ends up arriving at its destination successfully. Number 3, recognizability. Bitcoin's blockchain ensures transparency and verifiability. Every transaction is recorded publicly, and cryptographic signatures prevent counterfeiting. This fosters and/or removes the need for trust. It doesn't require a central authority, unlike fiat currencies, reliant on forcible government backing. Proverbs 11:1 warns, "A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight." Bitcoin's immutable ledger promotes honesty in transactions, a hallmark of divine justice. Number 4, divisibility. Bitcoin can be divided into 100 million satoshis, allowing for microtransactions as small as less than a penny. This divisibility ensures access for all, for large investors to small merchants. In God's economy, fairness is paramount. As Leviticus 19:35 through 36 instructs, "You shall do no wrong in judgment in measures of length or weight or quantity. You shall have just balances." Bitcoin's precision supports equitable exchanges. And finally, scarcity. Bitcoin's supply is capped at 21 million, enforced by its protocol. This scarcity mirrors the disciplined creation of God's resources, where excess is tempered by order. Unlike fiat currencies, which central banks can print endlessly, Bitcoin's fixed supply resists inflation. Fiat means by decree. They're essentially speaking it into existence, playing God. Only God can speak things into existence. Proverbs 11:1 applies here again. There are limited topics in the Bible where the word abomination is used. It essentially means God finds it disgusting. Interesting that God provides such a high level of concern and disgust for corrupt monetary systems. These 5 characteristics are the ones we need to optimize in order to best move money through space and time. Gold may be durable, but there's been a significant cost throughout history to verify its authenticity and move it from one country to another. The cost to verify Bitcoin and move it from one country to another is magnitudes more efficient than gold. Not to mention Bitcoin is infinitely more scarce than gold. There will only forever be 21 million Bitcoin. If you own one Bitcoin and steward it wisely, you will forever own 1/21 millionth of the total supply. Let's say you owned 100% of the gold supply today. Assuming the 2% normal inflation rate of gold, you would only own half of the gold within 35 years. US dollars are portable and recognizable, but they are not scarce. Take a look at how much the value of the dollar has gone down since we exited the gold standard in 1971. Not the best place to store your wealth over time. Bitcoin's technical design closely aligns with these attributes, if not perfectly. To me, this suggests it could be a candidate for a divinely inspired monetary system. But let's explore this further through a biblical lens. The Bible doesn't explicitly mention Bitcoin, but it offers timeless principles about money, stewardship, and justice. Let's examine how Bitcoin aligns with these. Number 1, decentralization and freedom from corruption. Bitcoin operates without a central authority, reducing the risk of manipulation by governments or other human institutions. History shows that centralized control of money often leads to exploitation, if not every time. Think of hyperinflation in Weimar Germany or modern-day Venezuela. Bitcoin's decentralized nature reflects the divine call to resist unjust systems. In Micah 6:11, God condemns dishonest scales, asking, "Shall I acquit the man with wicked scales and with a bag of deceitful weights?" Bitcoin's transparent blockchain counters such deceit, promoting accountability. Stewardship and responsibility. Bitcoin empowers individuals to steward their own wealth without intermediaries. This aligns with biblical stewardship, where individuals are entrusted with resources to manage wisely. In the parable of the talents, Matthew 25:14 through 30, Jesus praises those who steward their resources faithfully. Bitcoin's design encourages personal responsibility, as users must secure their private keys and manage their funds diligently. If Jesus was anything, he was a responsibility extremist. Not only did he take responsibility for his own actions, but the sins of the rest of the world. Jesus was a responsibility extremist. And finally, global access and inclusion. Bitcoin's borderless nature enables inclusion for the financially unbanked. Over 1.4 billion people globally, according to the World Bank. In regions with unstable currencies or limited banking access, Bitcoin offers a way to participate in the global economy. This resonates with God's heart for the marginalized. As seen in Isaiah 1:17, learn to do good, seek justice, correct oppression. Let's talk about a man from a poor country who travels to a richer country to make money and send it home to his family. He faces big challenges. Thieves who may steal his cash, or dishonest bankers who may charge him high rates cheat him and exploit him. But Bitcoin could help this man overcome these issues. So, is Bitcoin God's money? Perhaps no currency is divine in and of itself, but Bitcoin comes very close to these ideal characteristics: durability, portability, recognizability, divisibility, scarcity. Proverbs 23:23 encourages, "Buy the truth and do not sell it. Wisdom, instruction, and insight as well." One must be careful about stretching the meaning of biblical passages to make their own point. However, Bitcoin in the financial space is as close as you get to truth. That's part of why it's volatile. There's no manipulation. It's just honestly how the market views it. What do you think? Could Bitcoin reflect God's vision for money, or is it just another human creation? Share your thoughts in the comments, like, subscribe, hit the bell for more from Biblical Bitcoin.